Well, good morning, boys and girls. It's Monday, August 17th. This is Elevating Your Voice with Chris and Marco with our special guest. Oh, this way. Karen K. Notice the Dave Chat AI Zoom background customizable to our guests. So that's going to be a future occurrence. And then the nice thing about that, I can probably use that as a YouTube thumbnail when we upload it on the YouTube. For those of you that want to watch it on YouTube when it drops tomorrow, you certainly can do so.
What's up,
So
Karen?
yeah, welcome to the show, Karen Kay. Give us a little 30-second I'm in an elevator spill who you are and what you're all about, and then we'll dive into the conversation.
Wow. Well, good
Yeah,
morning. Good morning. 30 seconds. I don't
30 seconds.
know.
Ready?
30 seconds. I don't know that I could do it.
Sure you
I
can.
find it very interesting. I'm sure Nicholas put out that text that
Hmm.
absolutely fascinating.
Yep.
I've actually never looked at me as being fascinating.
Nobody ever
But
does.
thank you for having me this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Yeah, I'm Karen Kay. Been in the real estate industry 30, I think it's 2 years, something like that, 30
Wow.
plus years
Wow.
out there. The full time working with buyers and
Mhm.
sellers,
Yeah.
just like everyone,
Yeah.
I'm an associate broker. I also totally enjoy my instructing teaching. For about half my career,
Wow.
Yeah.
I've been just working with brokers and agents, mentoring, teaching, training, and teaching the CE credit hours, all of them
Why
for
not?
that time, and very passionate about it. I enjoy it.
So how'd you get into that, Karen? I know that's how I
That's what we
know
met you.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, through
Yeah.
through the CE classes. So how'd you get
Yep.
into that? Like, what was the genesis of that?
Well, I kind of believe we all are motivated by different sources.
Hmm.
Mm.
And I've always been rooted in education, self-growth, and all of that. And I was attending a lot of CE, just, when I first became an agent, I did all of the designations. I have a whole
Mm.
bunch of those
All
letters
the
after
things.
your name,
All the
the
things.
alphabet. And it wasn't just because I wanted something to put on a business card, it was really to get the deeper education. And I quickly learned from that you had to get out there and find things that you could grow from every day on it. And in seeing that there wasn't a lot of in the CE classes that it needed to be elevated, and that's always
Ooh.
been kind of my goal. Yes, yes, like looking at how can we make this better?
Nice.
And I just happened to ask some questions, and someone from Desert Sage Seminars, that's the school that
Right.
I teach with underneath,
Right.
and before I knew it, there I was. I actually became a CE instructor before I became an associate broker.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of times we talk about who is that one person in our life that has inspired you.
Hmm.
And I never really, through my young age, had any teacher that I really felt took any effort in me of who I
Hmm.
was, or and then I I have an amazing mother-in-law,
Hmm.
and
That's
she
rare.
just one day said to me, Karen, why don't you have your broker's license? And I go, because I don't need it. She's going to be 91. She lives in New York, and my wife and I were actually going back there in 2 weeks to be able
Yeah.
to spend some time with her because we haven't. But just that one person who, out of just kind of out of nowhere, visiting us one time in Phoenix, and said, Karen, why don't you have your broker's license? I think you need your broker's license, knowing nothing about real estate.
Right.
And that's how
Wow.
I ended up. Okay, she believes in me. She
Right.
thinks
Yeah.
I can do this. I teach CE. Okay,
Hmm.
let's do that.
Nice.
So we kind of never know what direction we're going to go
Mm.
sometimes. Sometimes it's organic, sometimes
Yeah,
it all opens up and falls into place.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do you feel that it's, I mean, you went a lot of your career without having a mentor. Um, and then all of us, or go ahead and go,
No.
maybe
Yeah,
correct me.
let me back up on that
Okay, okay.
because I do believe um, we all need a coach, a business coach. I
Mhm.
actually think that should be the very first thing when you get into real estate. I
Yeah.
was in a quick story. I was in real estate getting all these CE classes and was noticed and was asked to join the organization Women's Council for Realtors and quickly got involved, met
Mm.
people, and was asked to be on the line, the leadership line going up.
Yeah.
And my at that time, my real estate career was going full blast. And I remember I was in Washington, D.C. for one of the mid-year conventions, and I was introduced to someone and was really excited. She was from Tucson, and I'm sitting out there in a cafe, and we just got talking, and I was bragging. This was May, and I was bragging about, yeah, I haven't had a day off since January 1st of this year. And she looked at me, and I was like, oh, I found out through our conversation she was a real estate coach.
Mm.
From that moment on, for many years, she was my coach. Her name is Joanne Foslin, if you've heard that name
Okay.
before.
Mm.
She is
Mm.
retired from real estate right now and still living in Tucson. Amazing woman. So I totally believe that to have a coach early on in your career is what is going to really make it go in some
Mm.
direction. We all need to be accountable to someone. And she
Mhm.
was the one that really taught me, and I'm really glad she did early on about the life balance.
Nice.
Within 6 months from there, I had a Harley in my garage and was riding it. I had a brand new sewing machine in my sewing room. And I learned from that moment on that, yeah, real estate is real important and we really need to be busy with it. But if we also don't have something, if
Mhm.
that's a hobby, if that's a love of something on balancing,
Right.
we're gonna burn out
Hmm.
along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. You got to have balance. I have rules in my business, and I've had it since my first year. I don't call or text after 7 or on Sundays unless I'm negotiating a transaction. And I mean, I do text. I don't answer my phone after 7 or on Sundays unless it's a negotiation thing. So I actually would have clients call me up at 7:10. The first thing out of their mouth, "Hey, Chris, I know it's after 7. I'm sorry." And it's just because there's nothing you can solve after 7 o'clock at night
Mhm.
that can't be solved the following day. And I learned that by coming home one day and going straight to my office. And I came out like 3 hours later, and Nikki gave me that look like, "What are you doing?" And then so it kind of, okay, oh boy, now we got to reel this back and kind of figure out, the timing that I'm allowed to do the business again outside of negotiations, which, you know, made it that much more of a flexible career, I guess, because she knows 7 o'clock, then it's all my attention's geared towards her and the kids at the time, and so.
Well, I think it's a balancing act, and I think it's
Hmm.
sometimes it's hard for some of us to look at it at a, at a, 60 degree from 60 feet away, right?
Yeah.
Because if business isn't good, right? If
Right.
business isn't good, you're like, I just got to work harder. I just
Right.
gotta,
Right.
I just
Hmm.
gotta push harder. But
Hmm.
sometimes I feel like that's counterintuitive because you start getting frustrated more. You start kind of getting really just start getting burnt out. And sometimes it's like Karen said, maybe you need a coach, be like, hey, look, maybe the best way to go fast is to slow down.
Well, and having a coach is good, and because I've had coaches throughout my career too, but be mindful. You have to find a coach that fits your personality to an extent because you still want that coach to push you and kind of get you out of your comfort zone. But at the same time, some of the things your coach will tell you at the end of the day don't really apply to you, right? They just
Mhm.
don't jive. Like I had a coach a few years ago, and he first thing he told me was I needed to stop doing Good News Arizona because he said nobody's going to buy a house from that crazy character that I am on that show that I did. Even though I probably did about I don't know $3 to $4 million in business off of that, and I listened to him, so I entered the show, and then I got so much kickback from people like, "Why'd you stop? Why'd you stop? Why'd you stop?" And then as the podcast world has grown, had I kept doing that show, that could have been a really cool launching level of a podcast. But because he acted like that was going to hinder my ability to to gain more business, I listened to that and stopped, which in hindsight, bad decision. Like I shouldn't have stopped that at all because he didn't realize how that fed a lot of my juices. And then later in our coaching, I coached with him for maybe 4 years, and towards the end of it, I had brought it up. He's like, "Oh, I never said that." I'm like, "Yeah, you did. You said to stop doing that." And he was trying to spin around. He's like, "Oh, I was talking about marketing." I'm like, "Yeah, no, you weren't, dude. You told me to stop that because of this and this and this." So interview if you're going to go for a coach. What I'm getting at is interview them, find out their strengths and weaknesses, find out what it is that you want to accomplish by having a coach, because everybody has a coach for different reasons, right? Some need it for social media, some need it for engagement, some need it for client follow-up. So there was something that we did not too long ago, Marco, where we had somebody on the show that said, have somebody else interview your assistants and stuff. Remember that? So maybe the same concept, have somebody else interview a coach that knows you before you talk to that coach to see if it's going to be
Mm,
a fit and driving force.
yeah.
I think it was that gal that Nick's on the
And
goes,
Austin.
yes,
Yes.
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 Zulu
Yeah.
Zulu Khan, yeah, I think
Yeah.
her name.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
was. But so that aspect, I think, because like Karen, you just fell into this coach, right? You weren't looking for a coach. You just happened
I
upon her.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct at that time. Yeah. And we
yeah.
had a very, very interesting conversation. And I totally agree with what you just said. A coach in myself, actually, I've dabbled with other
Okay.
real estate
Mhm.
agents. I'm more better in a group and leadership
Mm.
training, and that's really where my skills are. But I
That's the
have
instructor in you.
yeah,
Hmm.
the hands-on, the teaching
Yeah.
in that way. But in coaching, when absolutely, Chris, yeah, finding someone that is going to work to where you're at. And sometimes
Mm.
that's someone that's totally different
Yeah.
than you. And a coach should never tell you to give up something like that.
Right.
Coaching in the whole thing is finding out what is motivating you
Right.
and that person. Where are they on self-starters? What
Hmm.
are they lacking? Because remember, every leader has some sort of weakness.
Mark
Yeah.
wants to know if you still have a coach,
I
Karen.
I don't well, I do now, Nicholas. I'm
Oh,
excited
there you
now.
go. There
I
you
don't
go.
know if he
Well,
knows it or not, but
Nick's a coach without realizing he's a coach, right?
exactly.
Because part of the reason I think we're all here is because of, well, we're all here because of Nick, but part of the reason why I joined is because I did transactions with him and I realized what a different agent he was to work with. And then once you step into the atmosphere, you realize, holy smokes, this is a wealth of information. And
Yeah.
we've bragged about Nick all the time. So I think Nick,
And actually,
but I think Nick truly is a coach for everyone in the brokerage, whether they realize it or not.
and Marco, with our conversation, and sometimes coaching isn't like, sometimes it's just having that time with someone that
Mm-hmm.
edifies you where you're at to take you in a different direction.
Yeah.
I got to a point with Joanne that I literally was telling her what she wanted to hear.
Right.
Mm,
And at that moment, I was like, wow, I've outgrown that.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
Karen,
other,
where is your next
yeah.
step? And that we
Hmm.
all need to be very
Hmm.
self-aware
Yeah.
and self-motivated and know what do
Hmm.
we need. And that's
Yeah.
actually why I'm here now at Broker Sub Realty is getting to a point of, okay, Karen, in order for you to continue to grow in your career in both
Hmm.
teaching and real estate,
Hmm.
you need to find something that's going to push you into that next level. Not,
Yeah.
and I'm not even
Yeah.
really sure right now, I still know what that is.
Right.
But that is that is where and sometimes, you've heard of brokers, agents being at the same brokerage for a really long
Hmm.
time, and
Yep.
that's great if you can. But for some of us who have over time kind of moved here to get this or
Hmm.
kind of moved here to get that, that's okay.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I look back at all the brokerages that I, were with. They all gave me something in that time that I needed in my career for the next step, for the next
Right.
growth on it.
One
And
one thing I'll add to that when it comes to coaching, make sure you have a coach that consistently holds you accountable. Because
yes,
I've had coach, they think they're holding you accountable, right? They'll give you assignments or whatnot, and then you go on the next coaching call, and I'll have a note that, okay, this is what they assigned, this is what I've done, these are my action items, and then I go through the entire call and it wasn't brought up, and then I get off the call, I'm like, well, that's messed up.
Right.
Like the whole point of a coach, part of it is accountability. It's like
mhm,
like this 777 club, right? That was in your face accountability every week. The 3-2-1 club. It's
Yeah.
accountability, and that's one of the benefits of a coach is you can't hide. You can't be like,
Right.
oh, I
Right.
don't, I don't want to answer the question today.
Yeah. And I
I
and
did
I
I did
think
that on purpose. See, I hid. See
yeah.
that?
And I think also not only with accountability, but also like having like a coach that will say, that's unrealistic,
Hmm.
right? Or you're just instead of going way over here, let's
Hmm.
just start right here, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of us have all these great goals and all these great things, but sometimes it's like so overwhelming to look at the end that we just stop because it's so hard to get there. But what we need to do is just, hey, let's just work on this one step, master this
Hmm.
one step, then move on to the next one. And that's what I think like a good coach is seeing the small things, refining them, and then little by little. I mean, just like any athletic coach, right? They just have to look at where you are, refine it, practice it. Okay, now that you got that mastered, let's go on to the next thing, right? And always
So,
hold you accountable.
yeah. So, how many personality tests have you done, Karen?
oh, a whole bunch. You mean like the disc?
Yeah, that's why I asked that
Yeah.
because yeah, yeah.
And with the disc, I am not what someone usually, thinks I am, and
Mm,
I
Mm,
get into real conversations, and I clash a lot with the A's and with the
mm,
red, because there's
yeah.
colors and there's all of this.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
a lot of and women through women's council, especially the ones that actually go on to leadership fall into certain categories.
Hmm.
And for not this year, but the two prior years, and then the year before that, I was involved with the Arizona State Women's Council
Wow.
Leadership Program, very much hands-on in
Hmm.
meeting. We met on Zoom and in person and then went through everything, really talking about
Good.
leadership. And my styles are
Yeah.
very soft, and a couple of people will say woo woo. I I truly believe, and it's kind of how I handle my instructing, it's how I handle my training, if that's in like a leadership way, or my clients is I'm very soft and gentle and want to
Hmm.
help. I'm
Nurturing.
nurturing. There you
Hmm.
go, Chris.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
love that. That's
Give
a
me a hug.
really
Give me
good
a hug.
one.
It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, or just what do you need?
Yeah.
And I truly believe communication is one of the skills that a lot of real estate professionals lack
Agreed.
or are
Mm,
not up to standards.
yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
need to learn.
You seem shocked by that, Marco. How
Well,
many
I'm
agents do you
shocked.
work with? Well, yeah, but think about it. How many agents don't answer the phone? And how many
Yeah.
agents, when they answer the
Oh,
phone, they
yeah.
just say, hello? Like, really? Like,
I'm not,
you're a professional, you know?
not. It's not
Or
that I'm shocked. It's just
Mm,
that Karen hit it on the on
okay.
the
On the
nail on
head.
the head. Is like,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
I mean that is one of the biggest things that we need is
Hmm.
communication.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's not just only not answering your phone or
Right.
being a Brofford, or
Hmm.
all of that around it, but it's when we're with a client, when
Hmm.
we're with someone, is asking is what I call it, the deep questions.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Listening. Everyone
Yeah.
thinks it's just communication. It's really about listening to our
Yep.
clients when they say something. We can't
Hmm.
assume this or that because the client we just closed on acted this way or needed
Right.
this way.
Right.
It's really super and asking, well, what did you really mean by that?
Hmm.
Or could I get clarification?
Yeah,
Or,
that's a valid point for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
And to that, I've stumbled across in my career when I list a house and don't realize that they've never sold a house before. Like they've been in a house for 15 years, and you just don't think about it. Then and then through the transaction, and all these weird nuances. And finally, I asked, "Well, you've sold a house before, right?" No. Oh, my bad. So I learned always ask when you're on a listing appointment, "Have you ever sold a home before?" Because that changes the approach to everything.
Right. Right.
So yeah, very very valid point there, Karen K.
Karen, what was it? Can you talk a little bit about that Women's Council? What does it do? What
Hmm.
is it? Yeah, I know
I've
you
heard
heard
of
you
it, but I've
mentioned it
never
a
been a
few.
part of it
Yeah,
because I'm a man.
yeah.
well, Women's Council of Realtors, it's an NAR, underneath them, like
Uh-huh.
another designation, another organization there. It's been around for a very long time. It was way back, and I forget the year now. Um, oh, they're going to, Women's Council women will go, oh, Karen, you should remember that. But it was actually started due to women needing that community within the NAR,
Mm,
basically. I joined right after becoming an real estate agent.
okay.
I've been now a Women's Council member for 30 years. This
Wow.
year is
Wow.
yeah, 1998, I was local chapter president. Now they're called networks, not chapters,
Okay.
of the East Valley. And it's like a networking.
Yeah.
Right.
And then went on to state, holding almost every position you can after that, all the way up. Right now, they have eight, I believe it's eight chapters throughout the eight
Mm,
networks throughout the state.
Hmm.
And I've held almost all the positions. I still go to the meetings and am involved as much as possible
Right.
with it. So, a great networking opportunity. I did a lot of traveling to all the conventions representing Women's Council at
mm,
different times along the
Yeah.
way. And one of the things that, because people go, well, why are you? Oh, and also we do welcome men. So men do. I mean, it's not like, oh, if you're a man, you can't be in the
Right.
organization. There are men in the
Mhm.
organization. Right now, we actually have a male president of the state. So,
huh.
um,
Oh, okay.
But it's a
so
women's
it's,
council, and you can have men. That doesn't seem right. Just saying.
yeah, I mean, it's
Of course,
open.
of
We're not
course,
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah. Of
you
course, if there's a
can't
men,
be.
right. Of course, if there's a men's council and they didn't allow women, we would get all kinds of slack for that, right? You can't do that. Equal rights, right? So
But
okay,
what it
that's
really has done over the years is the networking and the referrals that I had
mm,
received over the years. I going to the
Hmm.
different conventions, meeting women in other states,
right.
building that rapport, getting those referrals
Sure.
for a while. I would close a bunch a year
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
just
Nice.
by being.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have connections throughout the state. I know many in Tucson, many, and people do move from
Yeah.
Tucson up here.
Sure they do.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Karen, you were teaching all of these classes. I mean, you see a lot of agents, you see a lot of interactions within agents. Here's like a fun question. What class do you think should be taught that isn't taught?
Oh, good
What
question, Marco.
like what kind of where what is the CE missing? What are we missing out there that you'd think, you know what, a class on this
Mm.
would be really helpful?
Yeah.
A lot of agents, a lot of brokerages do not understand in teaching CE credit that our laws, the Arizona Administrative Code and Arizona um,
Revised statutes.
revised statutes, has in there what needs to be taught in a
Oh,
contract class, what in a disclosure class, in a
oh,
legal issues in these classes.
Hmm.
So
wow.
when we submit a class to be okayed,
Mhm.
there's like a checklist. Does it cover this? Does it cover that? Actually, I'm doing the class for Brokers Hub in September. Isn't that
Yeah,
Oh,
exciting?
nice.
that is
So
exciting.
excited. And it is on the requirements for licensees, our Arizona Administrative Code.
Mhm.
Hmm,
So I'm excited because in kind of talking to people, I'm going to put some stuff into that outline that I think that we need to know
cool.
that my eyes are kind of opening up because I've gone to the last two CE classes that
Yeah.
we've had in that. And um, so to answer your question, if I was going to follow the rules, because I love developing outlines, it's actually
Mhm.
one of my fun things I'm doing. And I shared with Chris earlier that Sherry
Mhm.
and I are working on historical outline class. So
Okay.
I'm thinking we might be able to stick that into disclosure
Nice.
or legal issues. I'm kind of going back and
Yeah.
forth on it, but I have to, when we submit it to the Arizona Department of Real Estate, we have to show like a checklist of,
Mhm.
yeah, it clicks off all these things that our
Mhm.
law
Cool.
says that we need to, if we're teaching that class, need to teach
Hmm,
that class. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
it
So to
does.
answer your question, because that was kind of the roundabout way around it, I think there should be 3 hours on water right
Hmm.
now.
Yeah, because there's only
Mm.
an hour. There's only an hour. I just did
There's
the hour.
only an hour.
Mhm.
I teach a 3 hour water class under
Mm.
legal issues.
Hmm.
Mm.
Um, we're anyway, that's a whole nother story. But
Yeah,
we're in a
yeah,
crisis. But that's and why I answer that way,
yeah.
Marco, is due to just the lack of the knowledge, and because I dived in and I have more deep knowledge.
Dived in, get
Mhm.
it? Dived in. Swimming pool,
But
water, dived in. Where the
we
title, got
fight
it.
every year with the Department of Real Estate on teaching, like more things like technology, or right now they rejected AI,
Right.
which
It's stupid.
Mm.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
after January,
there's university, right? There's universities now that offer bachelor's degrees in AI.
yeah,
Like you
and
can't.
AI,
Mm.
Right. Yeah. It's like it's here. It's not going away. It's like we talked about. It's no different than the Industrial Revolution, right? It's a revolution that's going to happen. It's going to put its footprint in the ground, and we're going to deal with it how we deal with it. Again, the background today, Dave made it because I was like, I could do a really cool background and somehow get Kay in it and just make it so it's more relevant during the show. And I'm like, there you go. So it needs to be something that's addressed. And I think a class would be good on that because, again, it will help people understand that don't understand and how to use it properly. The advertising aspect of it, right? Everybody's getting slammed now with the advertising stuff. So like, you can see I put the logo, right? Right there. Okay. For Brokers Hub Realty, like it's an advertisement, right? Even though it's not,
Mhm.
but those little things would be helpful to teach, especially older agents that are afraid of AI, because there are some out there, I'm sure, because the young ones are embracing it like crazy. So that should be a class. I want to know how many classes you've actually have put together and submitted to the department that you actually teach, that you actually did, like you and Sherry doing right now.
I have done about 8 or 9, just
Right
me.
on.
I
Oh,
can teach 30 outlines.
Wow.
wow.
I am lucky because John Kitchen with Desert Sage Seminars, he has a whole bunch of outlines and he has ensured in me that I'm
Mm.
able to teach his
Mm.
outlines.
So what does that
So,
look like? So I come to you and say, "Hey, Karen, I want you to teach this class on, you know, I don't know, give me a topic, Marco." And then do you have to stand in front of somebody and teach it so they know you can do it? Do you have to trial run it, or is it just here you go, read the outline and go?
okay, so I have a catalog of all the, it's a PDF of all of the
Okay.
classes I teach, and it has a brief
Mhm.
description. And I give that to my sponsors, anyone that wants to, do a class for me. We can pick it. The outline's already been approved. All of that's really good.
Okay.
But let's like the one with Sherry, a new
Mhm.
one like this has to be put together, and we have to prove to the department that it checks off all of these things. That's
Okay.
what I'm going to do for this and the next this week, hopefully, on this outline. And then because I don't own a school,
Mhm.
I've been after Nicholas. I go, is that kind of the next thing our brokerage needs to do is to have a
Mm.
I don't think we'll go there. I
Mhm.
love my school. So what I do is I submit it to John. He'll review it. He'll, with his knowledge, go, Karen, I think this, or we need to
Mm.
change this, or this isn't appropriate.
Right.
I take, we have a conversation. I agree, disagree with him. We get it going. He will then submit it to the department. The
Okay.
Department of Education looks at it all and will either approve it or disapprove it. And if they send it back and saying this, this, and this, like what they did with those AI classes that
Hmm.
were being submitted
Yeah.
by different instructors, then you can change this and that and then send it back. Once it's
Mhm.
approved, then I'm able to teach that
Mhm.
outline. Now, I have an instructor's license, just like a
Figured.
brokerage
Real estate
license.
license. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I had to jump through hoops to get that. They changed the law a little bit on it and took away some of the criteria. And then now I recently heard that they're going to change the criteria again and do a panel for the instructors to come forth and do it. I interviewed for my school through John, and John and Dana watched and helped me out on a few. Karen, you can do this. Karen, you
Mm.
can't do that.
Okay.
Way back when instructing.
Okay,
So
so when
at
you
this
so when you
point,
when you get your license and you're going to become an instructor, I may not have asked my question properly. So you're going to teach a class on agency disclosure. You've never done it before. It's your first class you're teaching on agency disclosure. Is it something that you have to run through with John and go through the entire 3 hours so he can make the notes? Okay, this was good. This was good. This was good. Don't do that. Don't do that. So you kind of have a trial run before you're standing in front of 30 agents learning this class. So is there a
yes.
trial run? Is there leading up to it, or you just go right into it?
I jumped into it when
Okay.
Dana and John put hires a new instructor on, and the school, and you can belong to more than one school. I
Okay.
really like them. They interviewed me, they watched my teaching skills, they went through all of that process on it.
Okay.
And a couple of times, like with Zoom and in person, and John would do some notes on it. But once you get your instructor's license from the Arizona Department of Real Estate, then you have to
You're
find a
good. Okay.
school
Okay.
and then you're
Mm.
good and then you jump on
Okay.
with the school. And they don't a lot of the schools don't bring everybody on. They have strict
Okay.
criteria
Yeah.
underneath and that.
Oh, I'm
And believe
sure.
me, it is kind of jumping feet first into it to walk into a classroom
Yeah.
and start instructing. And when I started, I did not use PowerPoint.
Okay.
I
Oh.
had my outline and I would walk it. Now,
Yeah.
this was before 2020. This
Mm.
was, and
Yeah.
in 20, the spring of 2020, I had it was like April or something. I remember I had like 8, 9 classes that month. It was beautiful out. I was on a roll. And Dana called me from the school and said, all your classes are canceled.
Oh.
And I go, no, they're not. He goes, no, you don't understand. The real estate industry is done. Like we're on.
Wow.
So then the Arizona Department of Real Estate
Oh,
had to realize through
COVID.
COVID
COVID, yeah.
Ah,
that,
ah,
okay, people are still going to need to renew their license.
right.
So it was very shortly after that that Zoom, that's when
Yeah.
Zoom was introduced into teaching CE. And I jumped feet first into doing PowerPoint
Right.
and presentations and all of that on it. But yeah, I remember walking into a classroom without anything around and teaching 3 hours and keeping everyone's attention on it.
Wow. Right
So
on.
Wow. I mean, that's that's a whole different level of, mastering and like being able to do something without a PowerPoint and talk for 3 hours about it. Wow.
Well, that's why I asked. That's why I wanted to know is this something that you just completely go off the outline? Because to me, that would, no offense, Karen, but that would be a really boring class if somebody's just like outline, and they're not standing in front of a group of 30 agents and actually, I mean, your classes are great,
Yeah.
but I have come across those where they're outlined for, verbatim, they're reading it and it's just dull and boring and dry and there's no engagement, there's no involvement. It's like, okay, did you have to like try to be a teacher for this, or did you just like, here, kind of like a realtor, right? It's not that hard to get a real estate license. You go to class, take a test, boom, you're a realtor. But with the education thing, I think it should be held at a higher standard because you are educating those that are out there in the world doing what they're doing. So I think it's cool that you're not only a realtor but an educator, because that helps you have real world experience. But that's why I asked that question. Is it something where you kind of go in trial by fire, or is it something like, okay, you're going to have to stand in front of the school and they're going to watch you, and what sounds like they did, Zooms and things like that, watched your teaching skills, gave you the feedback to just make your craft that much better, correct?
yeah,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
was lucky because I had background in um when Sevrar, before the two boards meet,
Yeah.
Sevrar, the board, I was actually on the board on the education
Oh.
chair.
Mm.
I was on the budget and finance committee, and then on the education committee for many years, and became chair of the
Nice.
education committee. Now this goes back to like '07 or '06, or
Yeah.
when it was just that
Oh,
Sevrar board.
Yeah.
And I had the privilege of talking about education for the boards, bringing it in. And that year, not just me, but my committee, we did 3 grants for the board that were from NAR. I don't know if
Mm,
NAR is doing that anymore, but you
mm.
write grants and then you
yeah.
get it through
Cool.
education. So I got lots of like what needed to be in education and what it looked like. And then going on from there for AAR, I was on the education chair
Cool.
for many years and was co-chair and chairperson of the education for AAR at the time. And what our committee did was audit. There's another word for it, kind of review
Mm,
instructors coming
yeah.
in and
Yeah.
Hmm.
like little snippets for the classes that AAR put on.
Cool.
And I was on that until they needed to get new blood in there
Mm,
on the education. And in 2017, I had the opportunity to be on one of the subcommittees who that redid the whole contract.
wow.
Remember in
Wow.
2017, that was the big,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
changing the contract. What they
Yeah.
Yeah.
did is they took our contract of the time and then broke it off into subcommittees.
Mm,
And I remember I went into the conference room at AAR because I got turned down twice. I kept writing AAR wanting to be on that committee. I don't
Mm.
know why at the time, but I kept writing them and they kept turning me down. And then finally they said, "Oh, you're on a subcommittee." And I was
mm,
like, "Great."
Mm.
yeah.
So I walk into our first meeting because they were all in person around that big conference table. And I looked in the room and go, "Oh my, the smart, the
Mm.
years in that room, and there was, brokers, owners, lawyers, like the whole bit. And I just sat there and absorbed. And I remember at the kind of near the end of the meeting, the chair, he looked at me and he says, Karen, you're the only one that hasn't said anything. Would you like to talk? Because I absorbed. We need
Mm,
to
Yeah.
be, and then you couldn't shut me up because someone
right.
asked me to. So then I went through what everyone, well, I agree with that. I don't, I think this,
Yeah.
giving my opinion. But I truly believe we learn from listening. We
Yeah.
learn from everybody in the room, no matter what that room is. When
Yeah.
I first, I was in real estate 14 months when I realized I had enough training from Century 21 and I needed
Mm,
to move on to realty executives. I made sure in that moment, we were on the second floor, Awatuki up on the second floor. I was bound to determine that I would get an office.
mm,
Hmm.
And I had an in office. It was just super plain when I first started. And I kept my door, I was there every day and I kept my
mhm,
door open. And I listened to everybody on the phone, in the halls, conversations, how they talked to clients, what they said. I went on every meeting and every Awatuki tour
mm.
because absorbing who's around us and how we
Yeah.
can learn and grow from each other
Yep.
and
Yeah.
bringing that
So, yeah.
around to Brokers Hub Realty. That's what it's all about. Every
Yeah.
day, whatever that meeting is that anybody can be in,
Hmm.
don't we learn from each other?
Oh, yeah,
We do.
absolutely.
So we have a question from Jason.
Oh,
What's your favorite topic to teach on? And what would you describe as your favorite ideal type of realtor for coaching? So it's a two loaded question. So first one, what's your favorite topic to teach on?
wow. I,
You stumped her, Jason.
you did because actually I love the variety.
Okay.
You
That's
know, I
cool.
love, okay,
Yeah.
one day talking about disclosure, the next day about contract. Fair
Yeah.
housing is fun. Fair house,
Yeah.
fair house on person or in Zoom.
Hmm.
Two incidents. I'm on Zoom in fair housing and oh, and I mentioned it was June. I mentioned when I got to the LGBTQI section, I just
Hmm.
mentioned Happy Pride Month.
Okay.
And why not?
Mhm.
I get a call, the class is done. I get a call from my school saying, and she was
Uh-oh.
monitored. Dana goes, hey, I monitored your class. Did you say Happy Pride Month? I go, yeah, I think I did. When and like it was
Mhm.
just in a sentence. And
Right.
Yeah.
she got an email from an
Mm,
agent basically complaining that I had said that and
mm.
that she will not be taking any more classes with me or with that school.
Wow.
And I said, if that is all she got out of my class,
Right.
that's that.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So I thought that was
Mm.
really interesting. I
Hmm.
don't skirt around any of the issues
Sure.
in fair housing. The other one was sitting, it was in Chandler. And there was a gentleman a broker and he had his arms crossed on the very first row. And he started
Like Marco.
arguing with me about the fair housing logo. And
Oh God.
What?
he was so mad. And I was like, ooh, you know. So those are just quick stories there. Fair housing is fun. Actually, I like them all. So
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I don't, yeah.
Okay, so the second part of the question, what would you describe as your favorite type of or ideal type of realtor for coaching?
Oh, for like a realtor for me to coach.
I'm assuming so, yeah, because
Yeah. Yeah.
his question is, yeah, what would your favorite type of realtor, ideal type of realtor be for coaching? So yeah, I'm assuming it's hey, I want to come to you and I want you to coach me. So what would that look like? What was your ideal person to coach?
It would have to be someone that is self-motivating.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of times I find myself, and I've had a couple that want a coach to solve all your problems.
Right.
Mm.
I'm there to just help you get to the
Mhm.
next level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
feel I have the wisdom or the knowledge that you
Right.
need to hear right now, point
Yeah.
blank. And if
Yeah.
you don't, that's fine. It's kind of like my point about not everyone is going to like me as an instructor.
True.
Yeah.
I get that. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. That's okay. On to the next. Kind of like in leadership, too. We're not going to be liked by everybody.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. I don't know how that's possible, but yeah, you know.
Yeah, I think I mean, if you don't have that self-drive, that
Yeah.
self-motivation, it's really tough for any coach to get you where you want,
Hmm.
right? Because ultimately it comes down to, are you going to put in the work? Are you gonna, a coach is gonna be able to guide you and be like, hey, look, I think you should do this, I think you should do that, but they're not gonna do it for you, right? You have to be willing to take those steps and just, get through all the bullshit and um just do it, like just do it and see if it works. If it doesn't work, well, at least you tried, right? Um, Karen, from all these years of you being in real estate, what are some of the wisdoms that you would give to agents to get out of their own way? Like what are some nuggets that you have
Golden
gathered
nugget time.
over the 30 plus years?
32 years, I think she said,
32 years, yeah.
which you beat Nick and I. I think now you're the
Are there
longest
some
tenured
personal
agent.
models that
I,
are there some personal things that you always say to yourself or that you live by, to be in this
that
industry
was a,
for
that was
30
a
years?
that was a lot of questions, Marco.
Sorry, sorry. I just want all of them to
Well,
be
no, but
answered.
I don't know how she knows to answer that because there's so many little questions in there.
Yeah, you'll get me going off on a tangent. You
So the golden
know,
nuggets. So golden nuggets. I'm a brand new agent. I run into you at a coffee shop, and I don't know. Somehow you realize that we're new agents. What is it you're telling us to help us be successful?
well, I don't think everybody is made out to be in this business.
Agreed.
And
Mhm.
also, when it comes to real estate and all around it, there's so many arms, there's so
Mhm.
many directions that you can go.
Yeah.
And number one is to figure out and not be blindsided. Going in knowing this is what you're going in.
Mm,
It's not easy work.
yeah.
Mm.
And you
Yeah.
have to have a personality that is able to going to communicate with people, is going to be able to accept information and go
Mhm.
forth. But I think no matter where our weaknesses are, because I have plenty of them,
Hmm.
we also have our strengths. And knowing where your strengths and how that's going to lead really helps.
Yeah.
And knowing your values. And it
Yeah.
really goes down to integrity.
Mm.
I truly believe that you really have to look at yourself. I throw that word around, somewhat, but to me, integrity is making sure other people can trust me
Nice. I
on
like that.
where I'm going. So that is my whole constantly thinking like, does my decision in whatever direction line up with my values? Does it line up with integrity? Is it going to work and I think we all struggle with that because in
Mm.
this industry, we are constantly being having things thrown at us
Hmm.
to go against the law, to go
Or go
against the
against our
rules,
integrity, like Marco
our
had that listing.
integrity,
Marco had
our
that listing he could have
beliefs.
taken, right, for 2.5 million, and they wanted him to leave the brokerage to get it. And he's
Mhm.
like, no, that's not what I'm about.
Yeah.
That shines through more than any definition of integrity I've ever heard of from someone, because really, I think most people would have left the brokerage just to take that listing. And Marco's
Yeah.
like, nope, that's not who I am, which is,
Yeah.
props to that for sure. So,
Thank you.
so to answer that question, I'm a brand new realtor. you're going to tell me that it's a lot harder than it seems to be, and you need to have integrity if you're going to be in the business with backbone, and you just got to, fight the good fight because it's going to take a while.
And that you have to be willing to learn
Mm,
every single
yeah,
day to
cool.
grow and learn. I've been doing this for a long, it doesn't years years don't necessarily mean anything.
True.
They really don't.
Ah,
And I don't like to throw 30 around to 30 plus years. In fact, I shake my head because I'm like, no, Karen, you're not old enough. This wasn't my first career. And it's it's kind of like what you can learn in a lot of years, you can also learn in just a few years.
Well, and it goes over transactionally too, I think, because
wow.
the experience, like, think about what she said though, Marco, because there's a lot of realtors that do this as a side hustle. So you could
Hmm.
be in this for 30 years and sell two houses a year on average,
Hmm.
right? Or you can be in it for
Hmm.
30 years. Or let's take Nick. Nick's in
Yeah.
it for 20, 27 years, and he's doing 50 transactions a year basically since the market crashed, right? So is it years of transactions? Because the more transactions you have, obviously the more knowledge you're going to gain, the more life experience you're going to gain, the more, oh, don't do that again. Oh, this is why this worked. That's why I didn't. So you have
Hmm.
more of that to empower you as an individual as opposed to, oh, 32 years in real estate. Okay, yay. But transaction, what you've done? Oh, I average two a year, which I know you don't care. But I think
Right.
that's a really good point as opposed to throwing the years out versus just your experience and that you're very well experienced and you've been there, done that, seen all these things.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of truth in when you say, Karen, that you can learn a lot over the years, but you can also learn a lot within a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And also I think our industry it's very forgiving in that it's always changing.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're able to learn as things pop up, right? So it's like something that you learned 30 years ago might not have any context anymore because
Right.
it's changed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And actually, I have spent the last 2.5 years really diving into developing outlines, to developing my teaching skills, my knowledge in that, and lacked transactions. Still kind of
Mm,
kept in contact with clients and all of that, but did a lot of coaching, did a lot of
mm,
helping of other agents on transaction, a lot of co-agents.
mhm,
So what's been really good for me is landing in just not the traditional,
mm.
like I hear I know you can look up someone's transaction
Right. Right.
history.
Right.
Where they are in this industry does not really reflect their transaction history all the
Mm.
time,
Mhm, mhm.
True.
depending upon how they were nurtured or other things that was done
Right,
around that transaction history. Someone
Right.
can be doing a lot of transactions and not really learning much from it.
Mm-hmm.
You do this,
mhm.
you do that, this and that happens.
Yep.
Yeah,
So we have to really look at where are the skills of that individual in talking and
Yeah.
sharing and that kind.
yeah, yeah. Well, Karen, thank you so much for being on our podcast. This was awesome,
This is fun.
and we look
I think
forward to your
everyone,
classes.
it's kind of scary, like what Chris we were talking about before
Mhm,
that. But I think everyone, this is a really safe, good
mhm.
place. We need to
Yeah.
get everyone within the brokerage.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. See that,
Sure.
everybody? Karen just said, everybody, come on. So
Yeah,
use
come
those of you who
on
haven't been
on.
on yet, reach out to Marco and I. Let's get you on. It's real easy. It's an hour conversation. Everybody has something to share,
Everybody has something.
and we can learn something from everybody, even though they don't
Yes.
think that what they're going to share has relevance. Because we've had people on here that
Yeah.
were adamantly against it, and I kept poking the bear. And when they came on, there was these little nuggets throughout the show that were like mind-boggling.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
stop being so scared. Come on the show.
There
Well,
you
And
thank
go.
you, Karen.
Thank you.
you'll have a nice little, I don't know how to do this. Okay, you have a nice little custom background now because I know how to do it with Dave. See, and my camera's mirrored weird or something. So I don't know what to do with my hands. Ricky Bobby. All right. Until next month, everybody. See you.
Okay.
Thank you,
See
Karen.
ya.
You're awesome.
Thanks. See you later.
Bye.
See you later. Good job, Marco.
You too.